Welcome once again to the Movies and Stuff Minisode. This week we're doing the Movies and Stuff Top 10 Twists in Horror Films. My name is Dan, and joining me is the man who may or may not see dead people, Abe.
That's right.
And no, there will be no Sixth Sense talk on this list. Spoiler alert. There will be 10 movies that we do think have the best twists, either at the end of the film or somewhere during the plot. So you know what, Abe? Number 10, get us started here.
I don't think anyone would have predicted that Sean S. Cunningham's 1980 horror film called Friday the 13th would spawn 10 sequels, a crossover, a reboot, a line of comics, and kill Drew Barrymore. The story of a young boy that drowned in 1957 and his mother that subsequently took revenge might not be the greatest plot twist in horror movie history, but you've got to give credit for a film that laid the groundwork for one of the most iconic killers in the history of horror.
You'd have to say that from a Halloween costume standpoint, that hockey mask is probably the top Halloween costume. Like, anyone can just get the hockey mask, get a fake machete, and throw some blood on themselves, and like, hey, I'm Jason Voorhees.
It's iconic. You can't help but think it. That
really
alone.
Is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the fascinating thing about that first movie is Jason wasn't even the killer.
No, he wasn't. They thought he might be the killer, but no, it was Mrs. Voorhees all along.
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty awesome. And, number 9 belongs to a 2005 movie from Alexandre Eja. I probably screwed up that pronunciation. But the film is called High Tension. And it's a brutal film, and it has a great, interesting twist, where all along you're led to believe that there's this male killer throughout the film that's doing these brutal killings, but it ends up being a figment of the main female's imagination. So the protagonist, Marie, is actually the one doing the killing, and while it's totally improbable that this could actually happen, it ends up being a really badass flick. Have you seen it?
It's been a while. I was surprised to see you take this. It's on a lot of lists of movies that people hated the plot twist on. It's a good pick. It's a solid pick.
And keeping in the theme of female protagonists, the next pick on our list also came out in 2005 and also dealt with a woman with a quite active imagination. And I'm talking about the original ending to The Descent. And honestly, I think The Descent is one of the most terrifying movies I've ever seen. First time I saw it, I honestly did have to sleep with the lights on. It was just insanely terrifying. And the original ending is not what you'd call a Hollywood ending. In the original, the last survivor, this spelunker, I like saying the word spelunker, she escapes from being killed by these cave dwellers, only to realize that she's hallucinating and still trapped in the darkness. Totally messed up.
Yeah, it is messed up. They went with the Brazil ending. Good flick, though. Caught everybody off guard.
Yeah, man. Wow. Total surprise with The Descent. Yeah, didn't have much expectations going into it. Terrifying flick.
Yeah, it was really good. Number 7 on our list belongs to Martyrs. This 2008 French film starts off as a bloody revenge film, but ends up being a lot more. 15 years after being kidnapped and tortured, a woman and her girlfriend seek out to take revenge on the bastards that did this to her. Midway through the film, though, that explores mental illness and empowerment, the gears shift entirely, and one character figuratively and literally goes through heaven and hell.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it, but I heard about it, on my prior show. We did a list of horror films, and it came up, so it intrigued me. Definitely want to see it. Martyrs. If you don't know what the major twist is, awesome. Go check it out.
Yeah. Next up, Carnival of Souls. This is a movie that probably should just fall under a category of elongated Twilight Zone episode. It's a plot twist that may not be the greatest, but it has this slow, creeping twist that just kind of keeps coming at you and keeps building and building. And it's really well done, so I think it deserves a mention. It's hauntingly shot. It's scored and acted perfectly. This little gem shows the dangers of drag racing for prospective church organ players. As one woman tries to piece together the mystery of what happened to her, who the hell is this creepy dude that keeps gawking at her, and how an abandoned carnival outside of town connects everything together.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I grew up in a town with a boardwalk, so I'm used to like the carnival carny feel, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was some shenanigans like that going on in my hometown. uh, hey, so you watch The Walking Dead, right?
I watched it for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, you watch Fear the Walking Dead?
Oh no 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 no.
Do you watch iZombie?
No.
Do you watch anything that's zombie?
I've watched some Rob.
Can you imagine a time, like some point in time, where people were not sick of zombies as a genre?
No, I can't imagine. Not anymore.
It actually did exist. And number 5 on our list proves it. I'm talking about George A. Romero's classic 1968 movie, Night of the Living Dead. And it's probably the crowning jewel, or one of the crowning jewels of the zombie genre, but it has an awesome twist ending that sees the lone survivor of this zombie attack emerge from hiding, only to be killed when he's mistaken for a zombie.
Probably one of the most unsettling endings I've ever seen in a movie.
So nihilistic.
Yeah,
It
it just,
really
just
is.
sticks with you. And the way they go to those still shots,
Yeah.
like the hunt. Oh man, just no good. Yeah. Another black and white gem, I think. We'll go with Psycho. It's the granddaddy of horror movie plot twists. Hitchcock literally just toys with us through this genre-shifting masterpiece. A woman on the run takes the wrongest turn possible as she ends up at the Bates Motel. Psycho pulls the rug out from underneath us in the most shocking turn of events, and then leads us down a path to one of the most iconic and memorable plot twists in cinematic history.
The plot twist being that Vince Vaughn is Norman Bates, right?
You had to go there.
I saw that in theaters.
The remake?
Yeah, I saw the remake in theaters.
Was it Morbid Curiosity?
I thought it was going to be all right.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it was.
you start hearing, it's like, oh, it's kind of like a shot by shot. They're really going to play. Yeah, don't see the remake, people. See the original.
Yeah.
Like, watch the original as many times as possible. You know what you should find is the commercial, the trailer for the original. Have you seen that?
With Hitchcock taking a
Yeah.
tour of the grounds. I love that trailer.
So awesome. It's one of the best movie trailers ever made. Really great. Next up on our list would actually be fitting for number 7 on our list. But the twist is so good, so we had to bump it up. And I'm talking about David Fincher's Seven. And, we got to discuss this gem of a film with the writer of the movie, Andrew Kevin Walker, a few months back, and really get into the mind of the man who put the head in the box. What's in the box, Abe?
What's in the box?
Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man.
I know you love Shatner.
I do love Shatner, and his head's in the box. No, just really, really twisted. Like, on a good way, this movie.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I wouldn't. It is a horror movie, isn't it?
It is a horror movie. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the origins of it. Like, take Fincher's hand out of it and put it into a horror film direct. It's a pure horror movie. It's a dude that's killing based off the 7 Deadly Sins.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Getting down to the final 2 here, and this one does not disappoint. Audition is the 1999 Takashi Miike film that was so good it helped spark a short and furious interest in J-horror. The story of a widower hatching a rather sleazy plan with his partner to find a new wife is the ultimate slow burn, which leads us to one of the most visceral plot twists in cinematic history. Unlike nearly every other plot twist out there, this is kind of a Rorschachian twist. It's based on your perspective of the film. This is either about an incredibly timid and demure woman that also likes to, insert needles and saw off the leg of potential suitors, or it's about a woman that awakens a sexual desire inside of a man so emotionally damaged, his sexuality and desires might be better off being stuffed in a bag. That leads, and that delusion leads him to one of the worst nightmares ever.
Something wrong with that Takashi fella.
I agree.
Something not right. And,
Have you seen Audition?
I haven't seen Audition. I'm familiar with Takashi's other work. I haven't seen Audition though.
Yeah, it's classic. Definitely check it out.
Yeah. I guess that brings us to number 1, and this was our consensus pick between me and Abe. This movie really had the balls to turn a little girl into a twisted killer, and She also happened to have a penis, too. That's we're talking about Sleepaway Camp. It was the movie that made you do a double take at the end when you realized that the killer with a fetish for curling irons was actually a boy pretending to be a girl. Because his mommy really wanted to have a daughter and not a son. Scarred for life because of this movie, man.
Are you?
I saw it when I was really young. I'm like, what? What? What's going on? What?
I can see how that definitely would scar you, but it's a classic, man.
It really is, man.
Perfect.
Some really brutal stuff in that movie. The curling iron, as I mentioned.
Yes.
Just terrifying. All right, that's going to wrap up this week's Movies and Stuff Minnesota. We are talking horror all this month, so check back next week for a brand new Movies and Stuff episode. We will review the horror film Excision and also interview one of the stars of that movie, actress Tracy Lords. We'll also be doing another top 10 horror list in about 2 weeks, so make sure you check that Minnesota out. And come back often, and make sure you like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also like us on Facebook to get regular updates and exclusive content. I'm man Abe. I will talk to you later.
All right.